This is the face of a 15-year-old killer. The teenager in the orange jumpsuit is Charles Andy Williams, 12 years ago. He pleaded guilty to first-degree murder after he took a .22 caliber pistol and 40 bullets to Santana High School. Williams opened fire on a Monday and reloaded 4 times. These are the images from March 5, 2001. 2 of his classmates were killed and 13 others were injured.
My whole plan was, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna die.
This is a photo of Andy in 2006 from a website created by his friends. He's wearing glasses and you can see he is now an adult in prison.
In my 15-year-old head, these are small rounds. I understand I'm going to be shooting at people, and I understand the potential for harm is there. But for whatever reason, I separated actual harm from potential harm, and I thought that as long as I'm considered enough of a threat to have all these cops show up in a big huge force, then they'll kill me, and all my problems will be solved.
The 27-year-old lives at Ironwood State Prison in Blythe, 220 miles east of San Diego. He's kept in protective custody because he refused to stab another inmate in prison. And from that prison, he spoke to a UT reporter for nearly 4 hours about what he did that day, being bullied, and the sexual abuse he claims he was a victim of.
Beat him up like you did Trevor that one day.
A lot of the bullying stuff, I was too ashamed to admit. All the sexual abuse, I didn't tell anybody about. I was too ashamed to admit I was victimized.
Williams was taken into custody as a teen, but he's had a lot of time to think about his actions. He says he was bullied by friends, even though teachers and administrators at Santana High School claim that wasn't the case.
I don't remember consciously aiming or not aiming at anybody. I just see a crowd, I guess, and pull the trigger.
He also claims he was sexually abused by a man who lived at one of his friend's homes. That man is now 40 years old, serving a 40-year prison sentence in Oklahoma for lewd misconduct for an unrelated case. Christopher Reynolds was invited to respond to those allegations, but didn't respond. In the interview, Williams says Reynolds knew the plan and threatened him the day before the shooting.
He called me on Sunday and he was like, "If you don't go through with it, I'll kill you."
He talks fast and softly, and he's quick to point out he deserves to be severely punished. He pled guilty to spare the survivors and their families the pain of sitting through trial. He will never stop regretting what he did, but he does regret keeping something from his father.
That's the thing that hurts me the most. Not being brave enough to tell my dad what was going on, because in a heartbeat, he would have tried to fix the situation. He wouldn't have let me suffer like I was, and I wish I was brave enough to say something to him.
Alejandra Cerbal, UTTV.
We were on the phone with Andy Williams. Charles Andy Williams, Santana, California school shooter.
Number will be monitored and recorded. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
Hello.
Charles Andy Williams.
What's up, Mr. Phil?
How are you doing today?
Terrible.
Terrible? Why?
Well, I'm kind of double-minded about it. I got the Moderna vaccine yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm feeling, I don't think that they should, Amanda's been a frontline worker for the last year. I'm not even sure if your beloved wife has been offered it.
Uh-huh.
So I don't really think it's okay that, a bunch of dudes, I'm 35 and I'm in the joint.
Right.
So I don't think that it's okay that, I get it before a bunch of teachers and stuff.
Right.
But I'm whatever, let's down the hatch, right? So boom, I got the shot. I was up all night long puking. My freaking shoulder feels like Mike Tyson socked me.
Really?
It's been a rough night.
Wow. I don't think I'm going to take it, but I don't usually do the flu shot, so I guess I won't do this vaccine until, for me, I'm going to wait until I see, give it a year or so.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. No, I'm the same way. I don't ever do the flu shot.
Yeah.
But with this, I'm just, I start catastrophizing and saying, okay, well, if I don't have my little, vaccination card,
mm-hmm.
am I going to be able to get back to work? Am I going to be able to get a contact visit?
Right. You're in a different situation.
They said there's no repercussions if we refuse, but I'm just trying to cover my bases. But I kind of regret getting it.
How much time do you have with me today?
Until your phone runs out.
How long is your phone calls?
This 15 minutes.
Okay. Let's do 2 15-minute calls. Is that good?
That's fine.
So I'm on the phone with Charles Andy Williams. You know I'm recording you, Andy. Is that okay?
That's fine.
We are talking about something that happened with you on March 5th, 2001, and that was known as the Santana or Santee, California
This
school
call
shooting.
and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It was known as the Santee or Santana, California school shooting. And at the time, Andy, you were 15 years old. You walked into your school with a revolver and you opened fire and you shot 15 people and killed 2. I've got a picture of you at the time of the crime. You look very young. You're 15. Look like you're 15 going on maybe 13, 12. You look pretty young.
Right? Yeah.
Is that what you're in prison for? And what the heck happened?
Yeah, so, I guess it was just like the 8 months, leading up to it, like moving to San Diego. I was an Army brat, so I moved around a lot as a kid. And then, finally, when we got to, Santee, I did everything I could to try to fit in. I had like this really unhealthy need for acceptance. And I had been exposed to drugs and alcohol pretty early on in my life. So it worked, right? Like if I was rejecting somebody, I could go smoke pot or drink or take some pills or whatever, and like it numbed those feelings. And so once the bullying started, I had no coping skills at all to like deal with it. I had no sense of self at the time to be able to stand up to these people and say no. I just took it and internalized everything that was going on with me.
So you had a pretty normal childhood. Were you? I mean, as far as your parents, were you bullied by your parents? Were you abused by your parents, or did you have a pretty normal childhood?
So as I understand domestic violence now, I did grow up in a household with domestic violence. My mom left when I was a baby, and she took my older brother, so I grew up with just a single dad. And I never went to bed hungry, never always had a roof over my head. But he was emotionally unavailable. I didn't really know how to communicate emotions. There was just like certain ones that were acceptable, and if I was like confused or frustrated or irritated, like I didn't. That was just happy, sad. Like that's all I knew how to communicate. I have a picture
of your dad. I'm showing on the screen. He's holding a picture of you. Have you ever seen that? He did like an interview or something, and there's a picture of Charles Andy Williams in a red shirt, white stripes, pretty young.
Yeah.
You ever seen that picture?
I don't know. Probably. I'm not sure.
So you you were beaten by your parents, but it wasn't ideal. Like you would call it maybe a bit dysfunctional.
Yeah, it was a little bit dysfunctional. My dad was a heavy drinker at the time. And I was a latchkey kid, so I was always in and out of the house like whenever I wanted because he was always at work. My mom, I got to see her once a year for 2 weeks. And never heard from her. Like I maybe get a birthday card once or twice, but she like no phone calls, no nothing. And so I grew up like really confused. Like man, maybe why doesn't my mom want me? And then like to try to ask my dad like those questions, he would just completely shut down. And so I didn't I was a very confused kid.
So you combine that with drug and alcohol use. You were molested by another father. And you're being bullied at school, which is a very dangerous cocktail.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you had probably, as you're growing up, let's say you were 15, so you were 13 when Columbine happened. You were 11 when Pearl, Mississippi happened. Do you remember other school shootings when you were in school? Do you remember hearing about it on the news or anything like that?
I mean, I remember seeing a little bit about Columbine, but like all those incidents were so far away, and like I kind of had like a bubble growing up to where if it wasn't like sports or school, then I wasn't like the most read or learned young man.
But if you were at the age of 15, if someone said, "Hey, Andy, do you know what Columbine is?" Would you know?
Yeah, I was familiar with it.
Were you inspired by any other school shooters?
No, I don't. No.
Okay.
No, I don't. Columbine did not play a factor in me committing that crime.
Okay, I have a picture here I'm showing of a letter that you wrote your father. It's I can't quite read it as well as I'd like to, but it says one thing I don't. So what is this?
It's
is a suicide note?
That was a suicide note. Yeah, it was song lyrics to "In the End" by Linkin Park.
So you actually quoted
And
Linkin
so,
Park in the end?
yeah,
Is that the one
yeah,
that says nothing else matters?
yeah. Like no matter how hard I try, everything falls apart.
Wow, that's the lyrics, huh?
Yeah,
And then where did you leave the? Oh, it does say in the end, Linkin Park. Now I'm seeing it.
yeah,
And at the end it says, "Sorry, Dad, I love you." Right?
yeah.
And you left that where?
On the speaker right in our living room.
So you
When I
just
left the
left
house
it.
that morning.
You left it for him. You took his gun. You got your weapon
Yeah.
from him. You grabbed a revolver. How many rounds of ammo did you bring with you?
So I took 40 bullets with me.
You have them in your pockets.
Yes, sir.
Did you take the bus to school?
I don't know. I think I left it in my backpack.
But did you take the bus to school or did you walk?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you said that was to take the belt. No, I took the bus.
Took the bus. Okay. So you show up at school, and is it called
Yeah.
Santana High School or Santee?
Yes, sir. Santana.
Okay. I have a picture now of the restroom that you went into. So you go into the boys' room. It says boys on the door and on the wall. You go into the restroom. You get this gun out and you load it up, and you walk out of the restroom and start shooting people.
Eventually, but I was in there for probably about 5-10 minutes beforehand, and I kept putting the pistol like in my mouth, behind my head, under my chin, like at my temple. I kept trying to figure out a way to like just kill myself in the bathroom.
You thought about just killing yourself.
Yeah, like just end it right there. But I had the unfortunately the tape that kept playing in my head was like, man, I've experienced like nothing but pain and heartache for the last 8 months. Like I didn't want my last action on earth to be painful. And then it just went from like, I started replaying the tape of all the things that had happened to me and like being afraid to go to school and being hurt when I was at school and made to feel like nothing when I was at that school. And so I started like just projecting that onto all my classmates and all my peers. Like, man, if they hurt me when I was here, then that somehow makes it okay for me to hurt them. Like, if they made me afraid to go to school, so that somehow makes it okay for me to make them afraid to go to school. Like, if I was made to feel like nothing, then it's okay for me to make other people feel like nothing.
And if we back up, you were bullied pretty severely, punched, kicked, spit on. They tried to drown you in the pool. They set you on fire.
Yes, sir.
Poured salad dressing on your head, took your things. I mean, you were pretty. I mean, that's pretty serious bullying.
Yeah.
And so you took it in, and you didn't say much about it. But eventually, your dad saw bruises on you, took you to school. Tell him who you met with and how that went.
So I committed this crime March 5th. On March 2nd, my dad got a phone call the night before saying how much school I had been skipping, and he was not happy. He was like, "Oh, we got to go talk to your guidance counselor because if I had more than like 5 absences or whatever, I would fail my freshman."
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And so he took me to the guidance counselor's office, and like I've always been like a stuffer, and so I remember sitting in the guidance counselor office and going, okay, like instead of just saying everything's okay or these bruises are from falling down, like I have a black eye from falling down on a skateboard, like I'm gonna be brave and tell him what's going on.
Right.
And so I told the guidance counselor, I was like, man, I'm getting the blues here. Like this isn't working for me. Like I'm getting picked on. People are stealing my stuff. Like I'm getting my skateboard stolen from me, and like stuff at home obviously ain't going right. Like I have no outlet. Like I don't know what to do. And the guidance counselor told me that boys will be boys and that I needed to toughen up.
So instead of getting you help, the guidance counselor said, "Toughen up."
Toughen up.
And so that was
boys are going to be boys, though.
That was a Friday,
Yeah.
and you this festered in you all weekend. And the police after the crime said at least how many people knew you were going to carry out a shooting on Monday.
So for that, leaving the guidance counselor's office that morning, I went to my drama class and was berated in front of the class for being an idiot, and it just reinforced that like nobody cares about me, I don't matter, like my life's never going to get better, I'd be better up dead. And so that's like it's the things that I'm telling myself. And so I made like a really flippant, like offhand comment at lunch, like, "Oh, I'm gonna come back on Monday and shoot my teacher." And people were like, "You're a bitch, you're a pussy, you're not gonna do nothing, you're a coward, right? Like it's never gonna happen." And so I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll show you guys." And so from Friday at lunch to Monday morning, 70 people said that they knew about it.
And we talked about that in my research, that a lot of times people do know there's going to be a school shooting. Usually the shooters will tell somebody. And so you show up on Monday morning, you go into that bathroom, and then you start shooting. And you shot 15 students. And I've got pictures here of the two that passed away. So we have a picture here of Randy Gordon.
And Brian Zachary.
Yep, Randy Gordon. Did you know Randy Gordon? Like, would you guys know each other?
I did not. No, I didn't know Randy Gordon. A friend of his actually came to visit me a couple years ago.
And this is Brian Zicker, a picture of Brian Zicker.
I knew Brian. I sat next to Brian in English, and Brian, like both of them were wonderful, wonderful people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says the notes here say Randy Gordon wanted to join the Navy, and Brian Zucker wanted to be a stuntman. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Have you ever talked to any of the victims' families or any of the victims that were injured that day?
No, and I would obviously like going to victims impact classes in prison. Like I've gotten familiar with like restorative justice and victim offender dialogues and stuff, and have written amends letters and have like done I think what I need to do to try to be accountable and take responsibility for this crime. That's something that I would love to do, but I've already taken so much from the people that I harm that I could never take like the timetable for any type of meeting or anything like that. Like,
if they reach out to you,
that's something that never.
Yeah, if they reach out to you, you would be interested, right?
I would love the opportunity to tell them to their face how sorry I am for harming them, and just to take total accountability for the harm that I caused.
We've got a picture of you with your white shirt on, sitting in courtroom. You went to trial. I'm sure you could not believe you did this after it was all. Usually, what happens after it's all said and done, and you're locked up and you're in jail, and it kind of hits you like, I can't believe what I did, and you're facing. You were sentenced to 50 years, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
And this is what Andy looks like today. This is your blue shirt photo with your glasses on, Andy. How long ago was that picture taken?
Unsure. I don't know which one you're showing.
Okay. So you got 50 years in prison, and we're going to run out of time. So why don't you hang up and call me back. It won't be much more time. Call me back, and let's talk about what happened, what prison's like today, and what your life is like today. You'll notice a little difference as I'm interviewing a school shooter as opposed to a serial killer. You'll see he's much more courteous. He'll be remorseful. The serial killers usually want something from me.
Unknown caller.
They want something, where these guys, the school shooters, he doesn't want anything from me. Okay, he's not doing this for any reason but to help me.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello?
So Andy, you got sentenced to 50 years, and this happened when you were 15. You're 30. Are you 35 today?
35 now, yes, sir.
Okay, so you've been in prison up to 20 years.
Yes, sir.
How something happened and your sentence got reduced because of some new juvenile laws. Tell the people what happened there.
Man, it's like also I didn't go to trial. I pled guilty because obviously I am guilty, and like this is indefensible. And like I just wanted to kind of spare. Like there would have been no purpose to a long drawn out trial. Like I had no intention of dealing with that, so I pled guilty and then received my 50-year to life sentence. Man, I'm kind of like I'm double-minded about it. Like I'm where I'm supposed to be. Like between the Zucker families and the Gordon families and the families of Scott Marshall, Travis Tate, Melissa McNulty, Trevor Edwards, Raymond Serrato, Heather Cruz, Barry Gibson, James Jackson, Tristan Saladay, Matthew Heyer, Carla Leyva, Tim Estes, Peter Ruiz. Like I devastated their families, man, and like all the classmates. There was 2,000 staff and students at that high school, and like they're all victims of this crime. Like I've tremendous horrible impact on the city of Santee, which is all in all a very, very nice city. It was like embarrassing to the school. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't.
They'll always be known. They'll always be known for that.
Yeah, and that's like heavy, man. And so like I'm where I'm supposed to be. Like I committed horrible harm, and like I believe being in prison is the right place for me. but it also sucks and I want to get out of jail. And so like it's this really fine like razor between
Right.
like the reality of having the sentence reduced because of juvenile laws and like different research on the juvenile brain. But even if I say that, like I feel like it's a cop out. Like because I knew what I was doing was wrong. Like I knew
you did. You were accountable, but you were also young. Like your brain wasn't fully developed, and that's why they had these new laws. So if you were serving a 50-year sentence, would you have to spend a full 50 years, or would you get it cut short with good time at the initial sentence?
Yeah, so the prison system has been changing the last couple of years, and so like a person can earn good time off of their sentence.
So on your original sentence, you would have gotten out at 65 or earlier. Like how earlier could you have gotten out?
I think so far because like I still have 2 sentences on my computer. There's the adult time that I got was 2051, but I've earned like 8 years off of that between things that I've done, and then there's a youth offender hearing that I get in 2025.
Okay, so then what happened? They changed your sentence. They went from 50 to 25 years.
Yes, sir.
And with good time,
it's possible.
So you have your hopes, but you never know what's going to happen, right?
But yeah, there's no expectation. Like I don't want to go to because they're called suitability hearings. Like I don't want to go to a suitability hearing with the hope of being like. Obviously, I want to be found suitable, but my intention is to show up, take account for the harm that I've caused, take responsibility, and just be willing to stand under the pain that I caused.
So prison has been rough for you, of course. When a 15-year-old, 98-pound kid goes to prison. California prison, no less. We expect it had to be really tough. But you've kind of kept your head up, and you've done the right things, and you've taken classes, and you've taken counseling, and you've gotten married. You have a woman in your life, and now you are sitting here. You're helping other inmates. So you've kind of made you've done the best you can with the life you've been given, right?
Yes, sir.
Because you could be dead. You could have shot yourself in that bathroom.
Yes, sir.
Are you a religious person?
I am. I do. I am a Christian.
Has that helped you?
Oh, for sure, man. Like, the Lord knows what he's doing, so even with all the nonsense that goes on right here, I just got to put my head down and trust the Lord for knowing what he's doing. He's always going to see me through, man.
So you keep your head up, and you take one day at a time, and you have the goal of possibly being paroled, and you and I have been doing a lot of things together, and we try to do a lot of damage together to help other people. And if you do get out, what would you do?
So obviously, my intention, as long as you'll have me, is just continue to like share my experience with people, and hope that some of these red flags can get caught to prevent like any other type of school violence. I am saying like. I was given an awesome opportunity a couple of years ago to be selected for a program to get certified as a drug and alcohol counselor. And so I absolutely love being in group. And it's my intention to like continue my education as far as like maybe a bachelor's in sociology, and continue to work with, I don't like the term at-risk youth, but continue to work with the kids dealing with trauma.
And also maybe some drug counseling.
Oh, for sure.
That's awesome. So, one last thing is before I let you go, what would you like to say to the public, to parents, to schools? What word of advice can you give people from what you've been through? You've been through some interesting situations here. What is your advice to people out here that are listening to this? So,
like, again, it's like a double-edged sword, right? You don't want to take too much responsibility for like troubled people in your life, because that can get kind of heavy. But for me, just based on my experiences, my belief system was that I didn't matter, that nobody cares about me, nobody's ever going to care about me, that I somehow deserved the bad things that are going to happen to me. And so it was like just be a friend to somebody, man. Challenge that belief system in these kids. Let them know that they do matter. They are important. Like, somebody does care about them. Because I was like, I'm 100% accountable for the harm that I've caused. However, had my belief system been challenged, instead of just like reinforced through my experiences, man, who knows what a lot of lives would look like today.
And the last thing I want to say is, you would tell people I should just die, or I should just do this, and you, like if you told somebody, like, I think I'm just going to shoot up school or whatever, you would expect them to say, "Oh, Andy, don't do that. You know, we love you. We care about you." You would hope that they would say that. That's not the response you got. Instead, they said,
That is not.
"Do it."
Yeah, I'm a coward or a bitch. I'd never do something like that. If I did do it, I need to go to certain hallways and target certain people.
Wow, ruthless, man. Kids are ruthless today. So, Andy, thanks so much for stopping by. And
yes, sir.
You and I are doing a thing tonight in the UK. So you're going to call me at 1 o'clock your time.
Okay.
Tonight, and you and I are going live in the UK, and should be fun. And we'll see if we can help some students and kids. And keep your head up. And thanks a lot for stopping in, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. Have a great day.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye. If you enjoyed the video with a school shooter named Andy Williams, Charles Andy Williams, Santana, California, we will be talking to more school shooters. I have one or two more lined up, and reach out to those troubled kids. Let them know they matter. If you would like, comment, subscribe to this channel, hit the alert notification bell. That would be great. Thank you so much for your support, and God bless.